Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO Zach Stanley.
Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night. No, it's not Wednesday. I'm not singing. We're not starting off the show that way.
It's here.
How do you feel that since we've done all 32 teams here on the Star Fantasy League Show, you can no longer ever do a pun on the show? It's over. You're done.
I can still do puns.
No,
freely when I want to.
Well,
I'm more than capable of it.
You may be capable of doing puns, but Jason Gringer, have you figured out what one is yet?
No, I have not. But I think the rule should be on Thursdays, since Thursday Night Football, you should do Thursday Night Football puns.
Thursday night, it's punny on Thursday night. No.
Right?
No, I don't like that idea.
No.
He doesn't even know what one it is. He just comes up with it.
He comes up with these day designations that we already have established anyways.
Yeah, no. Tuesday is food day. Wednesday is singing day. Tiki Barber on yesterday's show actually knew that we talked about food on the show, so that was nice. Thank you again to Tiki for being on the show. Listen to him every morning on CBS Radio on the weekdays. He did pretty good on the show. I like that.
He did an excellent job. I wish we could have had him on longer.
I agree, but apparently he's a very busy man.
That's not very shocking.
Yeah, well,
he's got a lot of things to do.
This is true. When you're on the radio, apparently people call. A lot of people call. Nobody's calling us, though.
Not really.
No. That's because we're in our own little world at StarFantasyLeagues.com. We're getting ready for the season. I'm excited.
I doubt that Tiki Barber plays daily fantasy football, so we have that edge on him.
That might be true. But he did know. We asked him some fantasy questions on yesterday's show, and he definitely knew his stuff.
He was prepared.
Yeah, that is true.
So
good on him.
Give him credit for that, and he should get into daily fantasy if he hasn't already.
Yeah, that's true. Tiki, if you're listening, you did tweet out Star Fantasy League's Twitter. That was appreciative. But play. Imagine if you just see a name Tiki Barber on there. That'd be kind of cool.
Even if he just wants to go with the traditional season long, we've got that too.
That is true. We got both, and leagues drafting right now. But before we get into the weekend fantasy focus, where we break down all of your value, all of your top plays, your stacks, we do a would you rather. We got to get into news and notes because it's week one, which means injury reports are coming out. Players are pulling up lame at practice because, let's be honest, that happens a lot.
I hate when that happens.
Especially when it's somebody you have in your lineup, you're all excited about them, and then, gone.
Especially when it's Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's, you got to sit at your computer, especially on StarFantasy.com. You got late swap. If you put a player in, injury report, get him out of there.
I'm sitting at the Bills games and then try to look at my phone.
Yeah, that's not fun.
How am I supposed to drink?
It's rough.
Life. Good thing, one phone, one hand, one beer, one hand. That's why they make a phone for your one hand.
Well, then I'm trying to catch a football.
Oh,
eat
come
snacks,
on.
Have burgers, grill.
That's the best part of a Bills game.
Trying to tailgate.
Is the pregame.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because the game itself is just
sometimes
depressing.
Most of the time.
Yeah, it's about right.
Last few years.
All right, so we need to get to news and notes. We're obviously going to start off with the Buffalo Bills for Zach. Right? We're going to start off with the Bills. The big news is Sammy Watkins participated fully in practice today, which means he is going to be a go with a certain rib injury that kept occurring in the preseason.
This is all week he's been practicing in full.
I know, that's good. We want to see that he's actually practicing. He's going to be your biggest weapon.
News. There was a couple of accusations that he hadn't shown up on the field as we had discussed previously during the preseason. Yet he barely played any snaps anyways. So I just can't wait to see him out there running around.
Well, yet they threw him out there for the fourth game of the preseason.
For like a couple plays.
They wanted him to get some more in, and then EJ let him too far. We already discussed this. We don't need to go over it. But it's great news to see that our fourth overall pick, one of the flashy guys, the Bills finally have a flashy offensive player. And yeah, I can't wait to see him out there against the Bears, and he should be able to do something against the Bears.
Would you not classify C.J. Spiller as flashy?
Yeah, you know what? We actually have to talk about C.J. Spiller because news came out actually this morning that he's going to be used more on kickoffs.
I think that's great.
Do you?
I really do. I think he's the type of guy that succeeds in open space. That's why I want them to get him the ball. more in space in the passing game, but the fact that they're doing it for the kickoff, I think he could be excellent in the kick return game. Marquise Goodwin probably in the punt return game, but Leotis McKelvin wasn't a fantastic option in kick return. I think CJ is going to be great. And not to mention, we don't need to worry so much about the injury concerns of kick returns because they pretty much return kicks like 20% of the time at this point.
Yeah, as I say, they're not going to kick to him. I have a feeling you're just, CJ Spiller. No, let's kick it out of the back of the end zone.
Still, you got to be worried a little bit. He's one of your star guys.
I do not have to be worried. No,
all right.
I don't.
I personally think it's going to take away from some production. If you're out there on the kick game, what if he doesn't play first down because of it? He has a nice big run back.
He won't be returning enough kicks.
Okay. I have to ask.
But if he gets out of there, anything could happen.
That's true.
You need some kind of yeah. Thank you. You do need some kind of flashy
Anything's
plays.
possible.
Oh God, stop with that. All right, the one other news item I wanted to touch on was another person with a rib injury. Cam Newton. Originally, they said he wasn't going to play probably, and then he said, I'm going to tough it out, and now he's hinting at not playing in Week 1. This team's screwed without him.
Yeah, I like the Tampa Bay defense even more now.
Lovie
Smith coming in there. They're a nice value play, I think.
Oh, yeah. If Cam Newton isn't able to play, then the Bucs defense is sumptuous.
Oh, yeah.
At this point.
Really? You went with sumptuous. Nice.
Against Derek Anderson will probably throw for 3 picks.
That's about right.
2 is a guarantee, I would say. There's no way. The days of this guy pulling out miracles and trying to make people think that he's good is they're far gone.
Yeah, when's the last time he actually played?
Braylon Edwards.
Oh, man.
Where'd he go?
He's not in the league.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely not in the league anymore.
Yeah, that's over.
He did some dumb things.
Because he was on the Niners after Cleveland, right?
And then New York.
And then he was on the Jets, and now he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah. He just disappeared.
That was a long time ago, though.
Like 5 seasons. 5 seasons ago, probably.
Really?
4 or 5. 4.
No.
Really?
When he was on the Jets? It was a couple seasons ago.
Okay, well, yeah, he was on the Jets, but when he actually had that big season where everyone was like,
with the Browns.
man, Braylon Edwards is really good.
Yeah. All right, how did we spend this much time talking about Braylon Edwards, please? We have actual football to talk about.
It's a tribute.
Another wide receiver I saw, Michael Crabtree, might not play.
Yeah, that's a big thing I actually wanted to talk about because a lot of my daily fantasy focus is around if Michael Crabtree plays. Because I think if he plays, we're going to get into it. I think a lot of those San Francisco guys could be eligible for plays of the week.
Michael Crabtree is injured again.
What a surprise. No way.
I'm frowning.
Yeah, yes, Jason's making a nice frowny face.
I mean, is this not
expected?
A chronic issue at this point?
Yeah, it's another leg issue, another muscle pull.
It just seems like this guy is not going to be able to stay on for a full season at any point in his career.
Nope. All right, we got to get to it because I'm actually interested in talking about a lot of the San Francisco guys. So let's move right into Value Corner on StarFantasyLeagues.com. This is when we give you the plays that are going to save you money to get in the top plays into your lineup. Let's start out with quarterback.
Value
Corner. It's not Wednesday. Stop that. No singing.
I thought there was like an intro.
All right, let's see. Who do we got for values for quarterback for Week 1?
Well, I think this is pretty obvious coming from.
Pretty obvious. What I have 4 written down, and I could have gone more. So stop with this obvious
coming
crap.
From my vantage point here, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I have liked throughout the offseason as a potential early round sleeper type guy. 12,400, which is fantastic value given some of the guys that are up around 16,000. I think he could have a great game against Washington.
Well, I like a couple guys right below Fitzpatrick. I'll throw out Eli Manning.
Yes, I absolutely love Eli Manning. I do.
Against the Lions, they're probably going to be down a lot. I think he's going to be throwing the ball, but they also have their new offensive scheme this year. I'm interested to see how he's going to do. Victor Cruz, I'm pretty high on this year.
It could be really bad, though, don't you think?
It could be really bad, or you could be one of the only guys that owns him, and then you could have a nice day.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. That's actually a big strategy. If you see a lot of guys that you like, if you see 3 or 4 top plays, you kind of want to go with the one you think might be at the bottom of that list, only because you're assuming the other guys are taking a high percentage. Because if your guy breaks out and you're the only one who has him, that means you're going to be ahead of the game.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not feeling very positive about Eli Manning just because of what went on last year.
Yeah,
how can I feel good about that?
It's a
garbage
super risky
points.
play,
but he gets a lot of garbage points. He really does, especially against a Detroit team.
Except for that game where he lost like 38-0 to Carolina.
Yeah, we're not going to talk that. Well, that defense is really good though.
Well, the game's in Detroit, so it's indoors. He's going to have a nice environment.
All right, one other the minimum guys we have to mention really quick. I'm not that high on them, but I could be. Chad Henne at Philadelphia. Points galore. Yep. And Sean Hill against Minnesota, who they couldn't stop any semblance of a pass game last year. I think they were 32nd in the league.
I had my eye on Chad Henne for sure, just because he's shown that he's capable of putting up some stats. Cecil Shorts is looking like he's going to be all right.
Yeah. For how long in the game, though?
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
But they should be down significantly in this game, and he should have the opportunity to put up some yards. And he has before. He's had 300-yard games several times.
I like Sean Hill, too, going against Minnesota, even though the Rams are favored to win that game.
Really?
But I like Minnesota in that game, personally.
Yeah, I like Minnesota, but how is St. Louis ever favored to win anything? That makes no sense to me.
I don't know.
Stupid Vegas. All right, let's move on to running back value. I have a lot of the weird combo-y because we have PPR on StarFantasyLeagues.com, which means you get 1 point per reception, which makes the running backs who catch balls really, really important.
As if it wasn't already important enough.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I have guys like Shane Vereen on here, under 10,000 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. I like Fred Jackson, Darren Sproles. Anybody that can catch the ball, I'm just all over if their value is right.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fred Jackson as well. I've got Andre Ellington as a value play just because I see him to be in a potential top 6, top 7 position in terms of fantasy points this week. And right now he's down there at like the 10 spot in our overall salaries. He's at 12,300.
I mean, that technically is still a value as long as you're not in the top spots.
He's not up there at 15.
Yeah, I had him as one of my weekend winners.
Ooh, whoa, why don't you? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jason, just ruining the formation of the show. How do you do that?
If you had him, then you have him. So
but Frank Gore's down to 8,600.
I got him as
against
well.
Dallas. Dallas couldn't stop anybody on the ground last year.
Yeah, 27th in the league last year.
A couple
points.
Deep sleeper guys could be Sean Green if he's actually going to get carries. He's only at 3,800.
Yeah, Zach's making a face that looks like he just chewed on a lemon, and he's about right.
He's starting. I mean, that's a really risky play.
Sean Green's terrible.
Down there, Andre Williams for the Giants.
He's really going to go with the touchdown vulture there?
Well, he's only 4,000, so if you're looking for some really low minimum
I'm
guys.
looking at Rashad Jennings still.
I honestly, I have him written down later. I think he could be really good. I'm not sure if he is going to be the value that we think, but I think he could have a solid week.
I think he could be better overall throughout the course of the season than people think. He's a guy that can catch out of the backfield. He's versatile, and they're still talking very raw surrounding Andre Williams. I think Rashad Jennings is going to end up being the 3-down guy at least early in the season.
The thing in week 1 is I want to go with established talents. I'm usually shying away from rookies. I'm usually shying away from offensive schemes that aren't really developed yet, just because you have absolutely no idea. That's a season-long thing you can monitor as it goes along, but it's daily fantasy sports. It's every week.
We've seen what Jennings is capable of.
He's
ready to go.
What's he going to do in New York?
You did well on the Raiders.
Stop it. We're not talking about that. We managed to make it one segment, and we still mentioned the Raiders. All right, coming off the break, more of Value Corner and your weekend winners. And you're also on the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
It is the weekend fantasy focus here on the Star Fantasy League show, which means we are not doing Donald's mailbag. We're giving you all of our top plays, value plays, and stacks of the week for daily fantasy football. It's the first time we can say
Dare I say that that's better than John Old's mailbag?
Yeah, it's probably better than John Old's mailbag. Unless people are asking questions. We actually, you know what? Send us in your would you rathers. Give us 2 players. We'll pick between them. I'm okay with that.
Unless it's just like Peyton Manning versus Sean Hill.
Stop that.
We probably won't put that on.
Then we pick Sean Hill. Oh, wait, what? No, we got to move on. We're talking about value corner, wide receivers. We talked about running backs and quarterbacks before the break. I did mention before the break that I don't touch any rookies normally. I think for wide receiver, I kind of like Marquise Lee. I'm not going to lie. I think Jacksonville is going to be playing from behind at Philadelphia, and Marquise Lee is a very, very dynamic guy who can get you touchdowns.
Yeah, I had him written down as well. He's only 6,700. Another guy right around him is Justin Hunter for Tennessee.
I think Zach is salivating right now. I can see it. He's like, that's my guy.
I like Justin Hunter a lot. I think, I'm trying to take a wait-and-see approach with him just because I want to see this big breakout before I start picking him. But then we know his value will go up at that point.
Right, and, he had better games last year when Fitzpatrick was throwing to him other than Locker, so it'll be interesting to see how well he does with Locker. But you mentioned another rookie. I like Brandon Cooks for the Saints. He's only at 8,000, and Stills is probably out for that game. So he's probably like the second wide receiver. Should be a high-scoring game, Saints versus Falcons.
Yeah, I have a feeling that is going to be one of the higher-scoring games of the week. I don't know. I don't really like anybody else. I think that it's going to be high-scoring, but I don't really know who to take in that game, I'll be honest.
Which?
The
Jacksonville game?
No,
Saints.
the New Orleans. No, I'm taking all that Jacksonville game. That's
the
my
Saints game.
Yes,
Yeah.
Saints Falcons.
I like Marcus Colston, who is sitting pretty at 9,000 right now, which we know the potential that he has. And with Kenny Stills likely out of this game, Lance Moore out of town.
Yep.
These
Pittsburgh,
balls got to go somewhere. Marcus Colston still has number one potential, and Drew Brees still loves him.
And he's not injured this year. He looks healthy in the preseason, so he might have a big year this year.
This is exciting. You know?
That is true. One guy we mentioned before, Michael Crabtree, might not play. Yay for San Francisco. If he doesn't play, a guy who had a monster week 1 last year, Anquan Bolden, who is, again, 86.57, undervalued, especially if he's the number one guy. I think he can easily get 100 in a touch if Crabtree doesn't play.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to keep an eye on. He's almost a shoo-in if Crabtree's not available against this defense, which Gate was bottom of the league in yards this year, and we know it's not going to get any better. So.
Yeah. How many catches did he have last year, week 1 against the Packers? It was like 16.
I think it was like 14,
15.
16,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. A minimum salary guy you might want to check out, though, Andre Caldwell for the Broncos. We mentioned him yesterday. He's
Stop
only 3,000.
I've got the other minimum salary guy
Cody
on
Latimer?
that team. I got Cody Latimer in.
It depends who
Yeah, we don't know how it's going to pan out.
That's another one of those wait and see type thing. I'm scared of both of them.
Yeah.
I think we'll see both of them on the field for a decent amount of snaps.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much.
It's going to end up being Emmanuel Sanders' day, though. I have a feeling. I hate him. I
feel very good about Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I can't deal with him at all. All right, let's move through tight end and defense before we move on to weekend winners. Tight end for value. I pretty much just went with one team. I always picked the tight end against Arizona last season. They were the worst in the league against tight end. The middle of the field there got worse this season with all the injuries they had. I don't know who to pick between Ladarius Green and Antonio Gates, though.
Gates.
Yeah, I'm going with Gates. For one, he's a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, he's fit.
Which is fantastic.
They're about 500 between
He's
them.
looked solid in the preseason for the most part, and he's coming back healthy. We have to remember, yes, he is older, and so we have expected, and a lot of reports have gone with the digression of Antonio Gates. However, there's no turf toe. There's none of this stuff going on. He should have a healthy year. He's still a huge target, and Phillip Rivers loves him. And Arizona, with this decline, these injury issues that they've been having, he could have a big game.
Yeah, I like Gates. I watched him in the preseason, and he looked really good. And I think he's probably going to have a bigger year than Green this year, even though a lot more people like Green more. I know you do, John.
Yeah, and somehow I didn't end up drafting either of them in any leagues. I don't really know how that happened, but
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
One almost minimum guy, Michael Rivera. We haven't talked at all about this Derek Carr situation. Denarius Moore, Michael Rivera. These are names you might not really know, but Oakland could put up some points here. I know New York Jets have a pretty good defense, but Carr looked pretty good in preseason. I'm convinced that a lot of these minimum guys could help you win and be low percentage owned this weekend.
It's a punt tight end.
Yeah, it's definitely.
If you're going to take that 3,500, that's almost at minimum.
Yep.
You're looking to punt the position and hopefully get some upside out of it. So
yeah.
I was looking at Andre Johnson. I know Ryan Fitzpatrick like the back of my hand, okay? And he's at 10,900 going up against Washington. Haven't seen anything from Washington D last year. And with Fitzpatrick, we know that he loves to target the number one guy. We saw it in Buffalo with Stevie Johnson. We saw it with Kendall Wright last year, and whoever shot when Nate Washington was in briefly, I think, at one point. Yep. And I think he's just going to be in love with Andre Johnson. I think this could be a huge year for Johnson.
Yeah, and you can look at DeAndre Hopkins, who's 1,500 less maybe. Another decent value option right there.
Yep. All right, the last thing we need to talk about when we're talking about value is defenses. Yay, defense. You got to put one in. It doesn't matter. I think the best way to go is finding your value defense here. Don't spend money on defenses because the difference between the top and the bottom is rarely enough points to actually matter. It's kind of a crapshoot.
I do look at defenses a little bit more when it comes to daily, just because the week to week can have a bigger effect. If you have,
you're like streaming. It's basically like streaming.
If you have a really stout defense going up against a horrible offense, that might be the time to take advantage. Like a lot of people are looking at the Rams this week, just because their defense is supposed to be solid, and they're going up against a Minnesota team that might struggle in the early on and cough up
Matt
some
Castle.
turnovers. Yeah. But I think looking at what's available this week on Star Fantasy Leagues, the Eagles look very nice. Despite the fact that their defense isn't great.
Well, yeah, they're going up against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think the best, we mentioned it earlier, I think the best value this weekend is actually Tampa Bay if Cam Newton does not play. They're only 35-98. A Carolina team without Cam Newton, they're not going to put up any points, and Derek Anderson will turn the ball over.
Yeah, if that falls into place, it's not a bad start at all.
Yeah, definitely. I like Detroit down there, 3,300. If the Giants are as bad as last year, they're a nice value. And the Bears against your Bills, 3,500.
Zach's not going to agree with that ever.
I
do agree with that. It is worth a flyer.
With what we've seen in the preseason, Bears are at home.
You mean with what we haven't seen in the preseason out of Buffalo?
Yeah.
Has Buffalo put up any points in the preseason on their first team?
Yes.
How many?
I don't know how many.
It was like 14?
There was some, yeah.
10?
There was some.
That's sad.
Which is fine.
Oh, yeah. Let's
I'm happy to. Hey, how many times have we seen preseason teams go 0-4, 0-5, and then win the Super Bowl?
Okay, fine, whatever. Gosh.
And
that'd be interesting.
That won't happen, but
I wonder actually how many times that's happened.
I think the Patriots definitely did it back when they were winning them. I saw that happen 0-4 in the preseason.
Back when they were winning them. Yeah, the preseason doesn't matter. Let's be honest.
Well, it's been a decade since they've won one.
That is true. All right, we got to move on to weekend winners. We gave you all the value players to make your top lineup. So in order to make the top lineup, you need to put the top players in. So these are guys that we think are actually, despite price, going to put up the biggest point total of the week on StarFantasyLeagues.com. We're starting out with quarterbacks. And where are you heading, Zach?
I'm heading to Atlanta. But the reason that I'm heading there is because I'm going with Drew Brees against the Falcons, who is the second highest priced quarterback below Peyton Manning at $19,000. I think he is in for an enormous game. The Atlanta defense does not look great, and this could end up being a shootout either way. It doesn't really make a difference. I think he's gonna put up big points.
Yeah, you can look at the other side of the ball there too with Matt Ryan, who's at 17,000. Also, they could be down a lot this game. You got Julio Jones back, Roddy White's healthy, got some nice options there.
I have too many concerns about the offensive line for the Falcons right now. That is the problem. And I also am very interested to see how they make up for the absence of Tony Gonzalez, because he was that third down guy. He was the guy that came up with the big catch on 35, 3rd and 6, and got that first down marker moving. Who is going to be that person? How much of an effect can Harry Douglas have contributing to that offense?
Name the tight end, win a prize.
Tololo.
Yeah, Anton Toilolo. Ridiculous. That's gonna be a quiz. I'm gonna quiz you randomly all season on Toilolo's name. It's gonna happen.
Toilolo.
All right, a guy I actually like. We mentioned how bad Dallas was last season against the run. How about a quarterback that runs? Colin Kaepernick. I think he could put up monster numbers against a team like Dallas, who's gonna basically not guard anyone. But this is the opposite end of the spectrum. I think Crabtree needs to play for Colin Kaepernick to have a big week. If he doesn't, he's going to lock on to Anquan Boldin all the time and kind of maybe run a little bit too much to make up for it.
He might be able to have a big week either way. Obviously, Crabtree really helps in that argument.
Well, I think they rely on Frank Gore a little bit more if Crabtree's gone, so maybe a little bit more run heavy, and then Gore has a monster week. So.
Yeah, and Tony Romo, other side of the ball, 16,800. If the Niners do get up a bunch, Romo's going to be throwing all year. Dallas is going to be down quite a bit this year. So
yeah, Romo could have a big fantasy season overall. I don't know if I'm as comfortable going up against the Niners defense, even if he's throwing a lot. But this game, I think this over-under in this game is over 50.
Yep.
So
yes, it is.
Yeah, 52 right now. But the Niners secondary is unproven. They've got 3 new starters in the secondary. So
and their defense is suspended is the word. Yes. They're all suspended.
I actually have Colin Kaepernick as kind of a slight value play.
I
Given
like
all the
him.
guys that are up there.
Yeah, I mean he's almost 17,000.
I think he could have a top 5 game though, and
That's
right now
true.
at that salary, he's not top 5.
That is true. The last guy I wanted to mention, we've mentioned how bad Jacksonville is. Clearly, Philadelphia's going to put up points, and if they put up points, it's mostly going to be Nick Foles, right?
Yep.
Even though they don't have receivers, like LaShawn McCoy is going to catch balls, and if he catches touchdown passes, that means Nick Foles is getting you points.
Yeah, we've seen, last year we saw from the Eagles that they were going to leave Nick Foles in the game. I mean, until it was 49-7 or whatever that game was when he got 7 touchdowns. It was crazy.
Yep.
So that's going to end up happening either way. I don't really take too much of the icing away the game with the running back. because you're especially with a guy like McCoy, you don't want to keep putting him out there pounding over and
Well,
over and over.
Hold on,
again.
they do have Darren Sproles now too. So if you want to put in another back to kind of just throw out there at the end of the game,
You
he could
got
fill
have
that.
dink and dunks going on. I think McCoy is also a great option just because they could end up running the ball a lot if they get way up in this game. And the reason that you run the ball is not because you're just trying to cement the game away. It just takes up time. It takes up time, and that's what you want.
I think McCoy's probably going to be one of the highest owned guys overall throughout the industry on Sunday.
Yeah, is this one of those situations where you kind of have to play him? Like, I know I mentioned earlier in the show the strategy is basically to shy away from the top guy, only because it just hurts you because everybody else has him and you're just washing out.
Yeah.
So are we looking for somebody who's a little bit under the radar? Maybe throw them in there.
I like Jamal Charles.
Okay, fine.
He's the guy.
Fine.
He's the guy.
You can like whoever you want. McCoy, Charles. We haven't even scratched the surface. We're talking more about weekend winners, and we also have Would You Rather coming up after the break. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick, only on The Team.
We are back, and we are continuing with the weekend fantasy focus, where we give you all the top value plays, weekend winners, and everything you need to make the best daily fantasy football lineup on starfantasyleagues.com. Before the break, we were talking about the weekend winners for the running back position. We kind of briefly touched on them, but let's get a little bit in depth on these guys. Obviously, LaShawn McCoy against Jacksonville, that's kind of a no-brainer. Jason, you said he's going to be extremely highly owned. Yeah. Do you go with him?
I'll probably throw him on one team maybe, just to have him, just so I can say he's out there, and if he explodes, then...
Just so you can say he's out there, huh?
Yeah. Well, if he explodes, I want to have him on at least one lineup.
I've got him. I've got him on one team as well.
Yeah. So
I'm looking at Jamal Charles just because I think there's a lot going on in the Philadelphia Eagles package. You've got Darren Sproles there. You've got Jeremy Maclin there.
Maybe
Zach Ertz coming into his own. Nick Foles becoming the quarterback. Becoming one of the go-to guys on that team. Jamal Charles, this is the guy. I mean, this is the guy that gets so many check down receptions, has so much burst. I think that he has a lot to offer against the Titans, and that this game could end up being closer. And when you see that, you're going to see more variety, more mix in the plays. You're probably not going to see him leaving the game at any time. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, he's been banged up in the preseason, so there's a little concern there, but he should be good to go, I think.
Don't forget, they have nothing behind him. The guy who was taking some change of pace receptions away from him, Dexter McCluster, gone. He's gone. So what? I mean, what?
They could have just paid up for Dexter McCluster.
He was a dynamic. He caught 50-something balls last year.
It's not like
he
was demanding a high price tag. I don't know why they just didn't stay with him. But whatever.
Good luck, Niall Davis. Is your back? He's back up there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's shown some talent. He's just not as versatile as a changeup for Jamal Charles, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. What do you think about Monte Ball for Denver? He's coming at 13,000. They could get up a lot this game. He could be getting a lot of carries. He's their number one guy there now.
I love Monte Ball. What he showed. I think people are quick to forget how he came on late
at the end of the year. Yeah, he was good.
And even in the playoffs, how they were relying upon him. He's a guy that could get a ton of receptions. He's shown a lot of burst out of the backfield. He's such an asset, as is anybody that plays behind Peyton Manning, because the holes are just wide open because they are stretching the field to such a high degree. The way Peyton Manning can make reads to put him in a successful position, I think he should have a great game.
Early in the year last year, you saw Peyton didn't have as much trust in him, so he wasn't out there a ton. Towards the end of the year, he started to gain that trust back, and now he's the guy, and I think he's going to be getting quite the workload this year.
Yeah, especially in the first 4 weeks. No Wes Welker because of a party Molly down thing going on. I'm not really sure what he was doing.
Great conversation yesterday.
Yeah, that was really fun. We should have asked Tiki if he enjoyed some Molly time.
Wes Welker, just to be fair, he claimed that he doesn't know who Molly is.
Did he really say that?
He did.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, he did.
We saw the pictures. He was definitely on something.
I was looking at the pictures today with him just throwing out hundreds, and there's like a security guard trying to hold him back.
Hey,
he's just
cut it out, buddy.
I thought he was just drunk, but evidently there
away.
was some more going on there.
Yes, there was. All right, I had Joel Charles as my top guy, too, only because Tennessee last year couldn't stop the run. They gave up the third most fantasy points per game to running backs, and this is the running back. So I like his matchup a lot. Let's move on and talk about some wide receivers, because there are a lot of poor secondaries in the NFL, and I think wide receiver is extremely deep. Still.
It is very deep. Like I said, I really like Andre Johnson. I like Colston. There are a lot of good value guys there. But if I'm going to go with my top play, the guy that I think is going to get the most points this week, it's going to be one of the top players, and it's going to be Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, you got to go with Demaryius.
Who I think, Indy has been absolutely picked apart defensively in recent years. Not much improvement going on there. An extremely, 55 over under or something like that?
Yeah, 55.5, I think.
Yeah,
right
55.5. I think he's going to blow up. I think that we talked about Emmanuel Sanders also potentially blowing up.
Ugh.
But without Welker there, he's just going to get gone to more as well. He's going to be the guy in this game.
Yeah, I love Thomas. I like Julio Jones there at 13,000. And a couple guys under there. Jeremy Maclin at 9,300. He's going to see a lot of balls this year. And Golden Tate, 9,100 for Detroit.
I have a feeling Golden Tate's name is going to come up a little bit later as well. Would you rather? Would you rather? Yeah,
Okay.
It's coming up. I can't believe you didn't mention your boy who you talked about earlier, Victor Cruz at Detroit. Going to have a big year. This game is going to be garbage time galore for New York, and I feel like Eli's security blanket this year is going to be Victor Cruz.
Yeah, he's going to be running a lot more short routes this year, I heard. So maybe not as many deep balls, but he's going to be getting a lot more receptions, I think.
So you're saying Eli's arm is done, is what you're saying?
It could be.
It looks dead. It looks like Jell-O out there. I can't believe it. He's a smaller guy. He's not Peyton. He can't stand up there. He got hit a lot last year, but he's throwing some ducks.
That's depressing.
Some wounded wobblers.
They had to reconfigure their whole offensive game plan there to get some more quick, short passes so he wouldn't get hit so much this year.
Well, that's true. His line was a lot of the problem there, and I think they retooled it a tiny bit. All right, let's move on to tight end winner of the week. I think that Vernon Davis, again, this depends on Michael Crabtree. I think he needs to be out for Vernon Davis to catch a lot of balls this week.
Yeah, I don't see at 8,000. I don't see Vernon Davis as a great option. But if Crabtree is out, he could have one of the top games of the week.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding.
There's potential for that.
Everything is a big question mark on Michael Crabtree's status. So do not put these guys in or out until you know that he's officially out.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham's probably obviously the number one play. That's an obvious. But
especially
Jordan
in high
Cameron at 8,800. He's right there around Vernon Davis. Nobody else to throw the ball to. He's going against your Pittsburgh team there, but he might have a lot of catches. He's got good chemistry with Hoyer. Last year we saw that.
Yeah, in 3 games.
And Greg Olsen, a guy who I was talking about, takes a massive hit if Cam Newton's out.
Yeah, you loved Olsen this year, didn't you?
I do. I still am very high on him as long as Cam can stay healthy.
Yep, and a guy you mentioned earlier who I have to give some props to, Zach Ertz is the guy of the future there at tight end for Philadelphia. He could have a monster game. Jacksonville they don't have it.
Yeah, he's at a nice price too.
Yeah, 64.31 on StarFantasyLeagues.com. He might not be the winner of the week, but that's a value that can just absolutely dominate for you.
It's an excellent value, and if you look at that, I have him slightly above Antonio Gates for production this week, and Antonio Gates is sitting at 5,700. You only have to pay a little bit more for Ertz.
Yep, I like Ertz a lot. All right, do you want to mention winner of the week for defense? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Tampa, right?
Well, if Anderson
Derek
ends up playing,
Anderson.
There's a lot of different teams that could be up there this week. I still do like the Rams. I like Mike Castle to throw a couple picks, and their line to get a few sacks. So we'll see how it plays out.
I don't mind the Steelers too, 3,900.
Well,
middle
Manziel's
range.
not playing though. If Manziel plays, I would love the Steelers. Love him.
Yeah.
Hoyer?
Yeah, I know. I actually thought Hoyer
could still make some turnovers.
That's
for
true.
Sure.
All right, do you want to get on to the best part of the show?
This is my favorite.
I know. It's called Would You Rather. We put up 2 guys side by side who have similar prices on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you have to fight it out. And if you agree, I'm going to slap one of you, just so you know.
Fine.
All right, first Would You Rather is in the quarterback position. Chad Henne at the minimum at Philadelphia, or Sean Hill at the minimum against Minnesota.
I'm going Sean Hill.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm going with Chad Henne.
Yes! Disagreeing.
Who I love to put up a bunch of points when he's down. Sean Hill is a guy that was able to put up a lot of yards against or on Detroit with Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
Chad Henne is a guy that has made a lot out of a little in some games with guys like Cecil Shorts. Even when Blackman was out, it didn't even matter. He was still putting up some decent points.
Well, let's be honest. The guys that they have in Jacksonville are kind of intriguing. Cecil Shorts, if he's healthy. Marquise Lee, who's got some big play ability. And then this Alan Hearns kid who's come out of nowhere, and apparently they like him a lot too.
Toby Gerhardt.
Stop. No, I said good. Remember,
okay.
Here, let's say more things. Mercedes Lewis.
I like Toby Gerhardt.
Stop it.
What's wrong with Toby Gerhardt?
We didn't mention him once up to this point, which means he's not anything good.
Well, that's because he's priced reasonably.
That's true. All right, the second one, I like both these guys. Colin Kaepernick, $16,861, or Nick Foles, $18,063.
I'm going to give a slight edge to Nick Foles here.
Really?
Yeah, just because I have some concern about Crabtree. Obviously, there's a little more value taking Kaepernick, but I think Foles could have a 3 or 4 touchdown game. Yeah,
I think Foles is going to have the bigger day. Going like a couple weeks ago, I thought Kaepernick might have the best day out of any quarterback just because he was going against Dallas, but I'm leaning towards Foles on this one.
Was it because you were watching the preseason?
Yes. No, not at all.
You can't let that get to you,
I'm very depressed.
The Niners had a similar preseason to the Bills. I mean, both awful.
Ugh.
I don't know if that's good.
Yeah, that's not a... Why are we mentioning it? It's the Swami Bowl. Ugh. All right, let's move on to the running back position. LaShawn McCoy, 15,484, or Matt Forte, 15,144, playing against Buffalo.
I'm going with Matt Forte here. I love Matt Forte in this matchup. The Bills can be miserable against the run. Remains to be seen with some of the new additions that are in there. However, Matt Forte, a lot of catches for him I see coming here. The ability to get up a lot in this game, which is similar to McCoy. But I just like him to kind of ice this thing away and be a huge part of the game overall.
Yeah, I think both of these guys have similar roles on Sunday. If both teams get up big, they could be getting a lot of carries. I think I lean towards McCoy. If he doesn't have the thumb injury, if he's going to be out there most of the game, if Sproles isn't taking away a lot of carries.
Bit of a coin flip situation.
Well, because we said earlier we think McCoy's going to be the highest owned, I actually think Matt Forte is a better change of pace guy. He may be 25, 30% owned.
I think Forte is going to be overlooked this weekend.
I agree completely. That's why I threw him in there. All right, the second one is Frank Gore, 8607, or Pierre Thomas, 8735.
I'm going with Frank Gore.
Yeah, Gore.
I think that's pretty much a shoo-in. And the main reason for me is that I really want to see how this New Orleans offense plays out early on. I think there's a chance that he could be a bigger part of the game going early with Kenny Stills out. Not as much, though. That's more for the receivers, I would think. But I want to see, with Darren Sproles gone, how this all comes together. I think he could have a great game, especially in PPR. But Frank Gore going against Dallas, potential for them to get up in this game and ice it away. I think he could be the guy and put up value in the 12,000, 13,000 range.
Yeah, Thomas's value is a lot in the PPR if he's getting a lot of catches, but the Saints could get up big on Atlanta. He might not see as many catches, so I think
I'll go with the guy that I know is going to get all the touches.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, speaking of a guy that's going to get a lot of touches, Golden Tate, 9109, or this guy, Emmanuel Sanders, 9,014.
I'm switching it into Emmanuel here. Breakout game. I think he's going to have an awesome week. I think we're going to see that this is the new guy on campus and that he is ready to go. A lot of athletic potential. Golden Tate should have a good game. Yeah. I just like Emmanuel Sanders to be a bigger target.
Breaking news, Emmanuel Sanders just caused Peyton Manning to make a Manning face.
Well, we saw in the preseason game when the game Welker didn't play where he got injured, Peyton looked to Sanders' way a lot. He had like 8 catches, 130 yards, a touchdown. So could see a similar numbers come Sunday here.
Great value for Sanders. This guy, he'll shoot up in value after this week. Mark my words.
Yeah. All right, the last one for receivers. Michael Floyd, 10,782, or Andre Johnson, 10,966.
Wow. This is one of the tougher ones on the board. I'm going to give a slight edge to Andre Johnson.
All right, I like Michael Floyd.
Oh, my God. I love when you guys disagree. I love it so much. Would You Rather is just getting started. Coming after the break, we're going to do the last couple Would You Rathers, and then we're going to close the Weekend Fantasy Focus out with Stack of the Week. Coming up after the break, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League show, and we're still talking Would You Rather for Week 1 of the NFL season on StarFantasyLeagues.com. You guys enjoying Would You Rather, right?
I just know that I'm going to win.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
Well, this is my first time doing fantasy football on the show.
Feels like the first
No more Seth.
time.
So you just are pretty much
So you got
saying,
tougher
you pretty much are
competition this
saying
year.
that you know you're going to lose.
Well, you got a little tougher competition in here.
Oh, wow.
No
All right,
Seth.
let's get into it. We talked about everybody. We got tight ends and flex position left to talk about. First tight end matchup is Greg Olsen, sad, 85-62, or Jordan Cameron, 88-30.
This one's pretty obvious.
Yeah, this one's obvious. Sitting right behind Graham, Gronk, and Julius Thomas. Here lies Jordan Cameron. I would say number 4 this week, and he should be able to put up a big game. He's the go-to guy in this offense.
No, not go-to guy, only guy.
That's true.
Only guy.
Pretty much, yeah.
He is the offense.
And Greg Olsen, although tempting if Cam Newton can play, this is an obvious choice for me.
Yeah, and the Tampa Bay linebacking crew is going to be great this year, I think, under Lovie Smith.
Lovey, baby.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Zach Ertz, 64-31, or Ladarius Green, 62-97. I think I know where you guys stand on this one.
Ertz.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. All right, let's move on to flex really quick. Darren Sproles, 65-71, or Kelvin Benjamin, 74-63.
What are all these Carolina guys doing in here? I can't make a decision without knowing the truth.
Yeah. All right, if Cam Newton plays, Kelvin
Cam
Benjamin.
Newton plays, I'm going with Kelvin Benjamin here, just because I think that he's going to get
Rookie.
He's going to get a ton of looks. I don't care that he's a rookie. He is the guy in the receiving core in this offense. And once again, another guy that I want to see how he gets into his offense makes me a little bit tenuous to make this decision is putting in Darren Sproles, because I just don't know how he's going to fit in yet.
Yeah, if you throw Sproles in there, he's definitely a GPP play. If he does go off and has like a couple like huge runs after the catches, he could be a great play. But Benjamin's going to be on the field a lot more.
All righty, last one. Rashad Jennings, 10,202, or Roddy White, who we haven't mentioned today, 10,286. This one's a tough one.
This is another great one. I think that we are going to see the return of Roddy White this season and this game right out of the gate, a high over-under, something that could go toe-to-toe in Atlanta. I like him to break out.
I prefer White in this matchup just because Detroit could get up a ton on the Giants, and maybe Jennings isn't going to be running as much. So
he can catch the ball.
He can.
Andrew Williams can't catch the ball.
This is one of the tougher ones that we have. I love Jennings
ball.
this week, but I think Roddy White is back, and we're going to see that right out of the gate.
Yeah. All right, so you're putting both in is what you're telling me?
Maybe.
All right, that wraps up Would You Rather for Week 1, but obviously we have one more thing to get to, and that is Stack of the Week. Stacking is when you basically put on the entire offense or multiple parts of an offense.
Stack of the Week.
No, stop making up songs. It's not Wednesday.
It wasn't really a
That
song.
was more of
Okay.
a throwdown.
Okay, fine. All right, there are some obvious stacks of the week. Where are we heading outside of Philadelphia? Because, come on, it's Philadelphia.
I'm going a little off the board here, Chicago.
How is that off the board?
I don't know. If you've got
How is that off the board?
If you get Cutler and then he throws a couple touchdowns to Marshall and Jeffrey, then you got Forte to come up there in the back, get all the garbage time. This could be a nice little
You do realize
stack.
Zach is not looking at you with fond eyes right now. He's not happy.
He's right.
Yeah,
It's
Buffalo's going to give
unfortunate.
up. Buffalo's going to give up some points. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I've got Marshall at 3 and Jeffrey around 8 or 9 in production this week. However, I am going to go with a stack that I can get some value out of, and that is Andrew Luck, Reggie Wayne, and T.Y. Hilton. I'd like Reggie Wayne to be a big PPR guy in this game. A lot of coming from behind for the Colts, and T.Y. Hilton, always a chance at a couple huge bombs.
That is right. Indianapolis could put up lots of points this week, especially from behind. If you're playing daily fantasy football on StarFantasy.com, I'm going to give you the biggest bonus you could possibly get. Free 14, FREE14 is the bonus code, 100% deposit bonus to $2,000 and an $11 credit. You can use that to play today, right now. Week 1 is on the board and a couple days away.
And we still got season-long leagues running through week 3.
That is true. Get in the game right now on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And honestly, if you aren't playing your daily fantasy football on StarFantasyLeagues.com, you're just not doing fantasy right. Take it easy, guys.